burning issue that broke last night and is still a raging matter in the country is the KPMG SML report. Now, civil society organizations are making a fresh push for the termination of the SML revenue assurance deal with the Ghana Revenue Authority. They are also demanding the prosecution of states and SML officials who were involved in the execution of this deal. This demand follows the publication of the full KPMG report by the presidency. The report, among others, revealed that the GRA, that's Ghana Revenue Authority board, did not deliberate or approve the deal, especially the contract signed in 2018 and 2019. We'll hear from the civil society organization shortly. But first, though, my colleague Kwaku Asante joins me with details from this over 300-page report that the presidency finally made it available. So, Kwaku, you're welcome.
Thank you.
First, what did KPMG find regarding the fees paid to SML? There's been controversy about whether the money is 1 billion Ghana, is 1.4 billion. What conclusion did KPMG come to?
Well, it will be recalled that about 2 weeks ago when the presidency published their white paper on this audit report and the findings that KPMG had done. At the time, they had not published fully what KPMG had submitted to them. They did submit that KPMG had told them that SML had been paid a little over 1 billion Ghana cedis. If you look at the report today, the presidency's recollection of how things went is not incorrect, but there are those who say that that is not a full picture.
Right.
Because if you look at the report, the gross amount, that is the total amount GRA has paid without the taxes and everything, is 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. That is how much the SML has gotten under the performance of the contract. All the work they've done since it was signed, they've gotten 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. That is the gross. However, the net, that is if you deduct all the charges, taxes, and every other amount that SML would have to pay back to the states, that will lead you to 1 billion and 61 million Ghana cedis.
In fact, when I spoke to the SML head of strategy on this show, she mentioned the same.
Exactly.
That GRA actually took all the taxes before they were paid.
Exactly. So that 1 billion Ghana cedis is what the presidency referred. So there's that, and civil society organizations have lodged on it. But the clarification is that there's a gross amount, there's a net amount. The gross amount is 1.4 billion Ghana cedis. However, if you net it with all the deductions, it comes up to about 1 billion Ghana cedis. And that is what GRA has gotten since this contract was started.
There's also this controversy about SML not paying some taxes to the state.
Well, we know that between 2018 and 2019, some amounts were paid to SML as part of the performance of this. And in particular, between 1st September 2020 and 30th April 2021, some bulk payments were made to SML. In fact, on some points, SML had taken money from the state for the work they had done, and GRA had collected the taxes. But on this particular point, between 1st September 2020 and 30th April 2021, the bulk payment that went to SML, the GRA did not deduct the tax. Of course, that is the responsibility of GRA, that when you are paying this, you need to deduct these withholding taxes. And that's what they are called, withholding taxes. GRA did not. And so that at the time amounted to about 13.38 million Ghana cedis. And because it has not been paid and GRA had not collected that money, there has been some penalties accruing on top of this. And all this has led to some 18.5 million Ghana cedis as penalty on this 13.38 million Ghana cedis. In total, that is 31.88 million Ghana cedis that GRA will now go and collect from SML as a withholding tax and a penalty. And KPMG makes the point in this report that they have to draw GRA attention that within this particular point, in contrary to everything that you always do by withholding these taxes, within this time frame, you did not collect these taxes. And so we understand now that GRA has written to SML.
So this is a blame on GRA.
This is a blame on GRA
for not doing their work in terms
exactly.
of taking the tax.
These are withholding taxes. For instance, if you have to pay any money to certain persons and the law mandates you to take the withholding taxes, you have to take that before you make the payment, right? And so GRA ought to have done that, and GRA did not do it. And so some penalties will now have to be imposed on that. Obviously, being a tax issue, there can be a negotiation because GRA had to collect it. They didn't collect it. And now you're asking these people to pay a penalty on it. And so they have to find some middle ground on that. And we understand now that there has been a subsequent communication with SML demanding settlement of these outstanding amounts.
There are also issues about approvals that SML may not have gotten between 2018 and 2019. Walk us through these approvals.
Again, this is also the responsibility of GRA to secure these approvals. They are in 3 tiers. There is the parliamentary bit, there is the PPA bit, and there is also the board bit. If you start from the very top, Parliament, it is the responsibility of the GRA when signing this, what is called a multi-year commitment agreement, to go through the Finance Ministry and go to Parliament and get parliamentary ratification of this deal that GRA did not do. In fact, if you look at Section 33 of the Public Financial Management Act, it is clear that an entity must seek ministerial and parliamentary approval when it is entering into an agreement with financial commitments that binds the government of Ghana for more than 1 year. If you look at this contract, it's a multi-year contract, and so clearly they have to go to Parliament. As we know now, that hasn't gone to Parliament. And then there's the PPA.
No, but the point is that the matter not going to Parliament.
It's GRA.
I mean, SML has no locus on the floor.
Definitely.
Even GRA may not have locus on the floor.
You have to go to the
Minister of Finance. So if this requires parliamentary approval and it was not done, then the blame goes to the Finance Ministry. Yeah. At this stage, we don't know whether GRA advised Finance Ministry to put this application before Parliament for ratification, or they did not. They did not.
In fact, these are some of the things that we'll be expecting that GRA would have to clarify in terms of explaining, because it is obvious from KPMG's report that they did get ministerial approval. That is, the Finance Ministry consented to them entering this agreement. However, the parliamentary bid did not happen, and clearly, SML cannot come to Parliament. It's a private organization. They have no locus. They have no business there. The GRA can do so through the Finance Ministry, which is the supervising ministry, but that has not been done, and so we'll get some information on that. So PPA, again, on 3 different occasions, that time SML was called SMEL. The GRA goes to PPA on 3 different occasions to get them to actually consent to this deal. PPA on all 3 different occasions does not grant that. And GRA still goes ahead anyway to sign some 6 contracts: transaction audit service, contract extension, price verification service, consolidation service agreement, measurement of audit downstream petroleum products, and addendum to measurement audit for downstream petroleum products. All these had to go to PPA before, but PPA did not approve. So GRA found a convenient way to do that by subsuming this agreement under an existing agreement with West Blue, so that they will be providing as a service provider. And up to some point, when the West Blue contract expired, they just gave the contract to SML to perform. And
so on that score, I mean, so is it a case that they were able to rectify this approval with the PPA, or there's no existing, agreement, binding this contract between SML and GRA as of now?
We know that later on, when SML actually changed their name at some point, and on 1st January 2019, they got PPA approval to do the work now. But on that previous occasion, they did it. But ultimately, on January 1, 2019, then GRA was able to get PPA's approval to now sign on to this deal. But prior to that, all the contracts that had been signed did not receive PPA approval. There's a final approval that they had to seek, that is the board. And according to the KPMG report, the board of the Ghana Revenue Authority did not deliberate, they did not discuss this at all. And then KPMG...
Is there a time frame for that? Does it provide time frame?
It does say that right from the start, there was nothing of the sort. And in fact, between 2018 and 2019, none of these went to the board for deliberation. It would then mean that
probably a management
after
decision.
that has gone. But GRA then explains that the reason why they didn't go to the board was that the board had decided that if you're signing contracts that did not go beyond 4 million Ghana cedis, you don't have to go to the board. Okay. And at the time, some of those contracts they signed were exactly 4 million Ghana cedis or below, for which reason they did not go to the board for approval.
There's also KPMG reports that suggest that SML did some work that led to some increase in revenue to the states. Brief us on that.
Right. So based on the analysis using the ESLA, that is the Energy Sector Levy Act, the reported liftings pre-SML, that is the dates that predate the period before SML came into the petroleum sector, it was seen that there was an increment reported volume that is attributed to the involvement of SML and is determined by 1.7 billion liters for that period. So if you look at the work that SML did, the incremental revenue that is attributable to the involvement of SML is 2.45 billion Ghana cedis for the period. And so within that period, the work that SML did, per KPMG report, was able to save the state about 2.45 billion Ghana cedis. And that is what SML has clearly laid out in this report. And that the fee of this, the state had to pay about 720 million Ghana cedis to SML for the same period. It constituted about 29.41% of the incremental value. KPMG's opinion was that that amount of money could have been negotiated downwards a little bit. But KPMG establishes that about 2.45 billion Ghana cedi revenue accrued to the state because of the work SML did.
I remember the president's white paper on this before this report was made public. The president's statement concluded that, I mean, he had not taken anything out or added anything to the recommendation of the KPMG, and that he's only implemented what KPMG has said should be done in terms of the recommendation. As you have gone through this, does it situate well in what the president said in that statement earlier?
Well, yes. In fact, the only difference from the summary of the presidency's report have to do with the 1 billion and 1.4 billion. And even again, when it comes to that, there's explanation as to whether you are quoting the net or the gross amount of money involved in this deal. So it appears the presidency's summary of KPMG's report is there. But of course, the people like Manasseh Azura-Winnie, for instance, who see that the report is more damning because of certain findings towards it. But this is the generality of it. Again, KPMG, just like the presidency recommended, that they should renegotiate certain terms. And
which I'm told is ongoing.
And if you cancel this, you have to pay SML the return on their investment, the investment that they've made into this situation. You have to pay that. And so, like you've just stated, we understand some negotiations are underway now to try and reach some compromise. And when Parliament resumes also, we understand that there'll be efforts to put those part of the deal that should have gone to Parliament back to Parliament so that they can ratify it.
I remember when Samuel Atachan led, the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, led some members of the committee to the SMS operational area at Tema, and the comments that he passed. And then we also do understand that the committee, they've indicated that they want to also probe into this matter. Do you have an update on where they are?
We understand now that they themselves had written to the president asking for this report for their work. Obviously, now the presidency have published this, and so the presidency will not even have to give them any other report because this is now a public document that Parliament can access. We understand that the Mines and Energy Committee is looking within the next 1 week to start doing some good work on this, because it will be recalled that in December, Parliament resolved that they were going to investigate this. KPMG have already done their work. There are those who say that it will not be necessary for Parliament to go back into this. But Parliament insists they want to also do some more work on this. And so we understand that in the next 1 week, they are going to start work on this. At the time, the minority insisted that they wanted this to be made public, a public hearing of a sort. We do not have any indication yet what the modalities is for this committee doing its work now. But we understand that within the next 1 week, the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, together with the Finance Committee, will start an investigation.
Thank you very much. Kokwa Sante is our parliamentary correspondent and he's been perusing through this over 300-page report by KPMG on the GRA-SML deal. Now, there's been reaction. The NDC has been wading into this controversy. National chairman of the party, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, claims the president published the report because the minority leadership insisted after a meeting with the president on Monday.
It's been released.
The president, no, maybe before I entered here, because this morning it was...
The president directed that.
It was a condition that Dr. Atuforsen gave.
Right.
When there was a meeting between the president and the leadership of parliament. The president was trying to get their concurrence
on a number of issues.
On a number of issues and the approval of this agreement.
This was a barter. This was part of what the NDC said.
So yeah, we said that look, we suspected there was something wrong, and then you put KPMG there to verify. The report is in. You don't want us to see it, and yet you want us to proceed to go and approve something. So publish it for every Ghanaian to know, so that we will see that what you are presenting to Parliament actually contains the corrective actions.
Okay, so this was
that we will help you
approve.
Yes.
Give us this, and we'll also support you.
Sure.
So that was a
yes,
request
in the interest of the state. Yes,
and that is why.
Yes, I believe that is why the president has done what he did.
I see. Some also say it has been released at this time to water down the effect of the Smith by the Champon saga. You don't believe that?
Well, if the president invited the leadership to water down this one, I wouldn't know. But I know it was a demand that civil society were making, and we were also making.
Are you happy now? Now that it's been released?
We are not going to read the report to know what is contained in there and to be able to decide whether we are comfortable approving anything or not.
So we've got more from the NDC National Chair, Johnson Asiedun-Ketua, on other matters coming up on the polls this afternoon. But we're taking a short. When we return, we also have this very disturbing matter of fuel shortages in some parts of the city. We have the very latest on that. Stay right there. This is the pulse here on Joy News.